Hey guys, what's up? This is going to be a video review for Conviction's Hope for the Broken. The biggest takeaway from this album, I think, is that you can see the influences that they use quite clearly. Rather than trying to invent the wheel completely, what Convictions does here is pick and take from a lot of different genres and try and sort of meld them together musically to create a different kind of feel of a album here. So what do I hear here? Well, I hear anything from Korn to punk rock to indie music. I mean, those seem to be like the big ones that I hear at least. You guys might hear something different, but that's what I hear. But really, though, it's a pretty diverse sounding music that they produce here. They kind of grab from a lot of different sources, it looks like, and then incorporate it into sometimes into a same song and sometimes into multiple songs, like along the list. They have different genres. The first three tracks are pretty heavy, and then they have some. Well, it gets heavy. It gets pretty heavy all across the board. But I would say probably the second track, I think, is Divisions, is probably their heaviest track on the album. Yeah, so don't get me wrong, this is not a soft album. This is not like everyone's gonna like it. It's more like a, well, it's really heavy in some parts, and it's softer in other parts. But the overall feel is pretty intense, I would say. Now, I think the best thing about this album is the vocals and the lyrics. They're really solid, actually. Rather than trying to sing in such a technical way as a lead vocalist, the lead vocalist really puts his heart out there, and it gives it a very strong feel to the music overall, and it's really good to hear. Now, some of the deep growls that you hear on this album are really pretty low on the register. But the really cool thing that you see here a couple of times in this album is when you hear the deep growl with the secondary vocalist singing, holding that same note on top of it. And it's so subtle you can cut it with a knife. I mean, it's really subtle there, what they're doing there, but it almost, you can hear that it sounds like two different registers going on at the same time, but you're like, what is going on here? You know, you don't really get it at first, but upon a few listens, it's like, oh, wow, this is what they're doing here. That's pretty cool. And so the other vocalist that's in this album is more of an indie or punk rock type vocalist that you hear in this. The other one is much more intense, I would say. The backup vocalist almost gives it a more indie feel, I want to say, in terms of their delivery. And you see this a lot where the verses are pretty intense with the lead vocalist, and then the backup vocalist will come in with the backup vocalist will come in with the chorus, and it'll be a more softer sound. Now, that's not to say the whole album is like that. Sometimes they switch it up to where the backup vocalist is singing the verses and the lead vocalist is singing the chorus. And that's kind of nice to hear every once in a while. It shows that they can mix it up and that they don't really necessarily have such a strong distinction between who is the lead vocalist on this album. I want to say lyrically there's a lot of depth here, and it takes quite a few listens to really get what is going on here. So, for example, when I first started hearing it, I thought it was good lyrically, but you know, after thinking about it a little bit more and really trying to nail this down, it almost sounds like in some of these conversations, like there's in some of these songs, that there's a kind of conversation going on in the vocalist, and sometimes it's like the main vocalist is saying one thing and then answering his own thing, and other times it's like, well, he's saying something and the secondary vocalist is answering. So that's pretty cool to listen to. So I want to say that this album is not done. Okay, so I'm not done listening to this album. It's not like I'm putting it on a shelf and like I've listened to it and I've done my review and now I'm just done with it. I'm going to continue to listen to this album because it seems that the more I listen, the more I get out of it, which is really pretty cool. I mean, it's not easy to do that as musicians. A lot of the times you hear it once, you hear it again, and that's it. You know, and that's what you hear. But with this album, it's like I keep finding that I'm uncovering certain things, certain moods that kind of shift around, and I hear different parts of the song at different where I am in life. You know what I mean? This is an album that has been out for a while, but I'm doing a review on it because I purchased it much later. I think I purchased it probably, I want to say 3 weeks ago or so. So it's been playing in my van for quite a while whenever I drive or whatever. And then I decided to really sit down and really give it a good listen recently, right before I did this review. So, yeah. So, I want to say, if I'm going to give this album a rating, now I said this before, but it's even more true now in how critical I am of music, because I've been exposed to a lot more technical, more heavy music lately, and so my perspective is kind of shifting a little bit in terms of how I will rate certain songs, certain albums. But if I'm going to rate this album musically, it wouldn't shine through very well. But with the vocals, it really picks it up quite a bit. And so I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Now the vocals are really quite something here. So yeah, give it a listen. This is a good one. So I recommend giving this one a listen. Well, guys, that was my video review on Convictions: Hope for the Broken. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.